Well, hello. Thank you for downloading another episode of Parks and Conversation. And this is a podcast where we just take some time to watch an episode of Parks and Recreation, and then Jeremy and I talk about it. Jeremy's across town. My name's Jason, and this is kind of just what we've been doing for ever. It seems like since the quarantine started, and I hope that it has been a helpful resource to you to not go crazy. So, hi. Jeremy, how are
Hey.
you?
Oh, I'm good, Jason. How are you?
Oh man, I am doing quite well. I'm really enjoying season 3
Yeah.
of Parks and Recreation for a variety of reasons. One is that Mark's still gone, so that's nice.
Addition by subtraction.
Exactly. Sometimes you got to lose a Mark to make a TV show. But I had a moment of Mark related. I don't want to use PTSD glibly, but like I saw him on another thing, and I was like, what's he doing here? So I've now seen him in 2 movies, and that's it. I haven't seen Mark in anything else. But yeah, he was fine in the movie, but it was whatever.
I wonder if he got typecast as Mark Brandanowitz, and it's just like, nope, he's not going to get any more work. Like your khaki pants. We don't need that.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to know now. I have to just look to see. That
didn't take long.
Yeah, we're right on track for getting off the rails. So
perfect. How are you today? Well, I have a story about Mark.
I'm watching the Criterion collection and
of Parks and Recreation.
Yeah, no. All the best episodes. They don't tell you why they think it's the best episode, which is kind of frustrating.
Right.
His birthday is March 16th. That's one of my friend's birthdays. He's been in some stuff. Tales from the Loop. He's in that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I might watch that eventually. That was on my list of things. And The Tunnel. He was Koba and Artem Baturin. I don't know. Anyway, he's been in some other stuff, but it's a movie called George Washington, which is about these kids in like a southern town, and he plays like a guy who works at a shop, and like a mechanic shop or something. And I don't really understand his character. I don't understand what's going on in this movie. I'm kind of lost, but I'm sad.
Does it have anything to do with George Washington?
One of the characters' names is George Washington, but not the president. So, so I'm kind of just lost in this movie, but I feel sad as I'm watching it because sad things happened, but I'm still just like, why are these sad things happening?
Okay.
And now Mark's here too.
And why is one of them Mark?
Yeah, that's one of the sad things.
This movie was sad enough.
There's a scene like I'm not a filmmaker. Okay, I get it. There's a scene where he goes and talks to somebody and then he leaves and he gets on his like moped. And it's not a comedy. This movie is not a comedy. He gets on his moped and he's not wearing a shirt and he doesn't put his helmet on properly. And he drives down the road and like the car is in front of him is like steady, like shooting, how they do the car scenes. It's a real road. It's not like a set.
Yeah.
And I was noticing the stores that were on the side of the road. And then it cuts to another scene of him driving, like still riding his moped, going the other way on the same road. Because I saw he drove by a Salvation Army going south, and then he drove by the Salvation Army going north. Nothing happened in between. It's like, what is happening right now in this movie? Anyway,
maybe it's a really giving community, and they need multiple Salvation Armies.
I would hope. So.
I was expecting you to say like it was really sad. Like he doesn't have a shirt on and his helmet's not attached. Like I'm expecting him to get hit by a car or something.
Jeremy,
I'm not wishing that. I'm just saying like the way you set it up. I was like, okay, when does Mark get hit?
Well, the way that I was watching it this morning and the way they set up the scene, nothing's happening. And I was like, well, something's got to happen. Maybe he gets hit by a car.
See?
But he didn't.
You went to Goodwill.
Alert. Mark did not get hit by a car yet. And I don't even know his character's name in this movie. I'm sure they've said it, but it's just like he's Mark. I don't know what to say.
It's not even his real name, like the actor's name.
Yeah, his real name is Paul Schneider, but he's always Mark in my heart. And so anyway, but this got me thinking how like it's driving me crazy, and I think it's time to have another town forum.
Let's do it.
We have an email from listener Christy. And first of all, she starts by promoting a different podcast, which I don't know how I feel about it, but it is a Parks and Rec adjacent podcast. It's Rob Lowe's podcast called Literally. And he pronounces the word like he does on Parks and Rec, and she giggles every time.
It's very adjacent to ours. Like
adjacent.
We're right next to Rob Lowe's podcast, I'm sure.
Exactly. Yeah. and this is when she said favorite episodes and Chris Traeger, and she says in the subject line, and she says, I'm looking forward to Media Blitz episode, which just was released recently, so she should enjoy it. And the power, she's concerned about April with power because she's dangerous and hilarious, and Andy is such a puppy dog in her hands. And it's true. It is true. And as we saw last week when we talked about it, Andy will do anything for April, which continues on to this episode, which is season 3, episode 6, Indianapolis. And in this episode, Ron and Leslie are going to Indianapolis to get a commendation for starting the Harvest Festival. And Tom is throwing a party at Snakehole Lounge for the one and only Dennis Feinstein. And today is the day we finally meet Dennis Feinstein. And I'm pretty excited about that. And hilarity ensues. So, off the top, what are your first reactions after rewatching Indianapolis? What did you think?
That I haven't really been to a steakhouse in a really long time, or like maybe ever. Yeah. I don't know. Like I've been to a couple. Like we went to what's the one up on we've been to one, but anyway, it's been a long time.
About the Brazilian steakhouse.
Well, there's that one, and then Daniel's. So I forgot about that. But yeah,
so you've been to at least 2 steakhouses
that I know of. Yeah, no. So that was, I think that was the thing with me was steakhouses. How about you?
I love this episode because it is so full of Ron and his passions. There are, I just rewatching this, like every day I have bacon and eggs for breakfast. Low
All
carb in it. Yeah. And so when I'm making my bacon and eggs, I always think of Ron saying, give me all the eggs and bacon you have. Wait, I think what you heard was bring me a lot of eggs and bacon. But what I said was bring me all your eggs and bacon. And so, yeah,
do you understand?
Yeah, like the intensity in that scene with that guy. Oh man, so good. So so I love this episode. I also love the Dennis Feinstein-ness of it, and Ben actually becoming a part of the group a little bit more. Like there's so many things that I really like that happen in this episode, and it's funny. So
that's
all
good.
wins for me.
Yeah.
If it wasn't funny, I would be more sad than I am. I mean, I already had that Mark thing happening today. I don't need more sadness in my life. So, so the whole thing starts with Leslie setting up the commendation. And Ron doesn't care about the commendation. He only wants to go to Indianapolis because it has Mulligans, which is the best, and I'm going to use a grown-up word, the best damn steakhouse in the whole damn state. I love a good steakhouse. Daniel's in this region is amazing, and I would go there every day if I had like $150 to spend on one meal.
Oh,
but I don't have that, so I don't go.
Yeah, I think that's probably why I don't go to many.
It's too expensive.
Yeah.
But now, at 25% capacity here, I could go to Daniel's.
The food's not cheaper.
No, but there's more room.
so you could eat more?
Yeah.
Okay.
My birthday's coming up.
Hint.
It's all coming up, Jason. Now.
Oh, wow. Yeah, except for that mark thorn in your side. The thing that I thought was
how am I going to cover over the wound if I don't fill that wound with steak?
Yeah, it's like when you get punched in the eye. Like, what do you put on it? A cold steak. Like
My tears.
Yeah, Mark is your black eye, and only steak can heal it. The accommodation for I just thought it was really funny that they're getting a certificate for starting the harvest. They haven't even done anything yet, and they're getting so it's like peak government. Perfect.
Yeah, you had an idea. Here's your participation trophy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty great. Like the whole idea, like we're getting an official recognition that we thought of something. Thank you. Thank you, government. And so Ron is there. He's excited to go. And he actually has this. He's been going for years to Mulligans. And he tells us that he's taken a picture of him eating every time he's been there. And he brings out his steak scrapbook, which, like, what a great idea. Because, the problem with food is you eat it and it's gone. But if you take a picture of it, you'll have it forever. And now if only I could think of a website where I could just post my meals, I think I could make a lot of money.
Alta Vista?
Yeah, Alta Vista. I'll search. So, so Ron's got the steak scrapbook, and he goes all the way back to his first one, and he's just so funny. Like, look at me, I'm just a kid.
It looks exactly the same. I did like how the meal kind of regressed as it went, and like there was fries on his plate, whereas like the ones before they were all very serious, like steak and like that was it, or just a side of potatoes or something. It's like fries,
right? Like he didn't know what he didn't know,
right?
Before he invented the turf and turf. So, all right. So so that's the setup. Great setup. It plays through the rest of the episode. Is built on the cold open. I love it. Credits, comes back to the office, and Tom is inviting everybody to a fancy party, and he's dressed up with the ascot and everything, because he is throwing this party for Dennis Feinstein and the launch of his new perfume called Allergic, which is troubling. That should be the big indicator right away that Feinstein is not a great dude. Because
his next scent is ether. Oh no, it was knockout. His ether based scent is called knockout.
Right. Yeah. All bad. Like he is just the worst. And having worked at a drugstore that sold cheap colognes and perfumes, they're all bad. They all smell terrible. Yeah. And so
were you much? Have you ever been a cologne guy? Like
no,
high school, college?
No. And my wife has tried to get me to wear cologne before, and which I find a little offensive. Like, you think I stink? But I can't wear it. When I have in the past, like it hurts my eyes, and I don't put it in my eyes.
I was going to say, I think you're doing it wrong.
Just putting it on my body.
You're supposed to drink it.
Oh,
that's how it works. So you have a good smelling breath.
Yeah, your breath smells like my grandpa.
That's an Old Spicy.
Oh, Old Spice is a cologne. I was just putting allspice, all over me.
Perfect. Everything but
we went to Costco yesterday, and not to brag, but we go on Fridays, and there was a product there called seasoning.
How much did you buy?
I was like, well, I don't know how much I need. I better get this whole case. It was like in the Asian food section of seasonings and sauces and stuff. So it was just in there, and it was just the brand name seasoning
by Dennis Feinstein.
Yeah, and I looked at it, and I'm like, what is this? Like, what do you use this for? And it said for every dish. Like, no, it's not. I was so mad.
Put it on your pancakes. It's delicious. Maybe seasoning is just food cologne.
Yes. Oh man, I am going to tell my kids that, and they'll look at me. So they're going to roll their eyes so hard they're going to break their necks. Yeah, my kids. We've had this conversation, right? Is milk a sauce?
Oh yeah, we've been through this.
Yeah. So then, like, follow this logic. Is syrup then a sauce?
Sure.
Yeah. So, is syrup seasoning?
Is yogurt just a thick sauce then?
Yeah. Why wouldn't it be?
I
If you
don't know.
put it on top of something
Right.
to enhance flavor, sure. Yogurt is breakfast gravy, other than the actual breakfast
Other than
gravy.
actual gravy, yeah.
So, and yeah, people just eat a cup of yogurt and they're fine with it. But if I try to eat a cup of gravy, they have a problem. What is this? It's
Psycho.
all, yeah, people are messed up. So yeah, anyway, speaking of people who are messed up, Tom is inviting people to the Snake Hole Lounge for this big party. My autocorrect changed new to Nay, which is what people's maiden names are. So I don't know why autocorrect is doing this to me. Ben is invited. And he's like, oh no, I can't go. And he cuts to a talking head, and he's talking to the camera saying, yeah, people invite me to stuff when I come to these different towns, but they're not like my friends. They're like Facebook friends. Like, hey, Doug's buying a new shirt. No one cares, Doug. So,
I wrote down
nailed it.
what would Ben think of social media today? Like, if he thinks that was bad back then, like,
oh yeah, it would be bad. And Adam Scott, the actor who plays Ben, he is not overly active on social media, but I can't help but hear him as Ben when I see his tweets. Like, he is just Ben through and through. So, yeah, so he is not planning on going, but Leslie asks Tom to make him go. I was like, he is lonely and he's sitting by himself, and you just need to invite him
to your antihistamine party.
Yeah, antihistamine. So, and Tom's like, I can't. I'm pitching my new cologne, Tommy Fresh. And so he will eventually. Spoiler alert. And then it cuts to April and Andy at the shoe shine stand, and Andy's saying how he's going to write a new album about April. It's called April. Ludgate is the greatest all time, Volume 1. And so then he's like, what should we do tonight? We can watch TV at your house. We go watch TV at Burley's house, or we can watch TV at Best Buy. Those are the options. So I love that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you and your wife, Terry, you guys dated for a long time.
Yeah. We went to Best Buy all the time to watch television.
Well, Kathy and I, we dated for a long time, and in college, and we were broke. We had no options for doing fun stuff. So it was often just like, well, where do you want to watch TV? Like, that really was the conversation. Like, all that's happening right now is that both of our parents are paying for television somewhere. So we can watch it at their house, or or we can go for a walk outside like some kind of animal. No, let's watch TV. It's cold here.
There's no TV. There's no TV out there.
Exactly. Why would you go out there when there's no television? So, yeah. But April wants to go to Tom's thing, and Andy's like, oh yeah, okay, but he knows it's going to cost money, and he doesn't have any. He wants to treat April like a queen, and with rubies and diamonds and jewels and all kinds of weird stuff that he wants to get
treasure chest with silk scarves.
Yes. So it's like, okay, wow, you really love her, Andy.
Now the only thing about this part that I didn't like, he had saved that money to give to Tom to start his, he gave him the $1,000 to buy into the Snake Hole Lounge, and now he doesn't have money. Now, okay, I'm not saying that Andy, hasn't saved up money, because he's probably relatively irresponsible and he bought his crotch rocket and crashed it and all that stuff. But it just feels like with his job and everything, he should have like just a little bit of money. I don't know. That was the only thing that kind of stuck out in my head. And I get that it's not. Yeah, I know. I'm being the curmudgeon-y guy, but
Well, he is technically self-employed, and the only people that we see regularly at his shoe sign stand are Kyle and Ron. And maybe Chris.
I was going to say, he probably made a lot of money off of Chris's shoes.
Yeah, but he didn't save any of that. Come on. No, he didn't save any of that money, because he's investing back into the business, inventing Super Straw.
That's right. It's true.
These kinds of things.
That's true. So, marketing his band's CDs. I forget these things.
Yeah, tell us how much you like us. So he's doing great. Yeah, so they're going to go. But, Andy doesn't have any money, so he's kind of worried about it. So then it cuts to Leslie and Anne going through outfit selection, and Anne tells Leslie that she thinks Chris is cheating on her. They ended their last conversation really weird, and Leslie's like, okay, I'll see what I can find when I get up there. And she said, they called me Angela Lansbury in high school. That was because of my haircut.
Were you a big Murder, She Wrote fan?
No, I was not.
Okay, all right.
I don't want to be like anti yes and here, but I don't think I've ever watched that show of that ever.
Oh
ever.
Man,
did you watch it a lot?
Oh yeah. Growing up, I had grandparents, so we would watch some Murder, She Wrote.
Way to brag. I had one grandparent.
Oh, okay. That's probably why.
She lived in California, so
gotcha.
I never watched it. Yeah, it was one of those things that I would see on, and if I saw the credit scene, I immediately said, "Not for me." Like I would just be flipping through channels, and I'd see the opening credits, like, "Oh, this isn't what I want to watch." So,
what is that machine she's using?
Why is she so angry when she stares at it? Butthole.
That's a callback.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for pointing out the callback.
Yeah.
Not if this is somebody's first episode, I won't just say butthole. Except now I've said it more than any other episode, but whatever. So then Tom goes and invites Ben to the Snake Hole Lounge. He's like, they're saying, well, I'm not doing nothing. The owner of the motel is going to watch Hope Floats in the lobby, to which Tom says, you should get out of that. She's probably going to murder you. And so
and Ben's reaction is like, oh, wait a minute, you're right.
Yeah. And I Hope Floats, is that the... No, I'm thinking 28 Days. Hope Floats.
The vampire, the zombie movie, 28 Days.
No.
I often get Hope Floats and 28 Days confused.
No, those are different. There's 28 Days and 28 Days Later.
Oh, but isn't that the sequel?
Surprisingly, no.
Oh.
What's happening? Okay, my internet's slow, so I'm not
going to look at that. Sandra Bullock
is in Hope Floats, right?
Yeah.
And she's in 28 Days
Later.
No, she's not in 28 Days Later. She's in 28 Days.
Harry Connick Jr.
is in Hope Floats?
Yeah.
Okay, I have seen this movie then. All right, that's it. I don't think it's a good murder movie. That's not all I wanted to say. Like, I don't think it would inspire. I mean, it's not great, but I don't think it would inspire anybody to kill anybody.
I don't know. I don't know if I ever saw this one. I saw there's a guy with the cowboy hat, and I was like, I don't think so.
You need two guys with cowboy hats?
No guys with cowboy hats. I'm not a cowboy hat guy.
I don't even know how to say it. What to say to that? I'm not a cowboy hat guy. Okay, all right, good. So he's gonna go to the thing, and Tom is like, "Hey, what are you gonna wear to the party?" And Ben is wearing a plaid shirt with a tie, which was my classic move when I had to wear a tie at Longest Drugs. And he said, "Probably this." To which Tom laughs in his face and says, "No, seriously." Ben's like, "I guess I'll go change," which I love because he doesn't really change much. Ron and Leslie then are driving to Indianapolis, and Leslie's got all these great like side trips they could go on to go see like the misshaped Museum of Wax and that kind of stuff. And Ron just says no, and he explains that he's been fasting to save room for Mulligans. And he tells Leslie how much he loves it by pointing out that after I eat at Mulligan's, for weeks there are flecks of steak in my mustache, and I refuse to clean it so that it might fall into my mouth, which is gross.
That's super gross.
Yeah, so awful.
I love that one of Leslie's side trips is the second largest rocking chair, because like the joke works better as the second. Because if it was the first, it'd be like, oh yeah, let's see that. But the second largest, like, why would anybody want to go see that when there's the first largest? I don't know.
Well, maybe there's some kind of blood feud between the two families that created the largest rocking chairs.
Right.
And that could be why you would go. It's like, let me hear your side of the story, second largest rocking chair. I'm sure you were first. And then the first largest rocking chair family, they were like, let's show those guys who's up. Who's up? What's up? And yeah, that's the only reason I could think to go.
That's probably it.
I have never in my life wanted to go to any of those things.
Oh, really?
Yeah, world's biggest ball of yarn, or like the biggest egg. Like none of those things have ever been interesting to me, and I think it's because when we were growing up, there's a coffee shop down in southeastern Washington that is shaped like a teapot.
Mm-hmm.
And it is like referred to as like the world's largest teapot. And I went to it and I was so my parents took us there as we were going to Umatilla. And I was just so disappointed. Like, we got off the freeway for this.
Well, it's not even the largest teapot because it's not a functioning, right? It's a largest maybe teapot shaped building.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I was just so disappointed in the whole idea. And I don't know why my parents aren't really what you would call adventurous. So like, I don't know why they would think to do it.
Maybe that was them being adventurous. Like, hey,
they learned their lesson.
You know what's wild? Huge teapots. Let's go.
Yeah, maybe. My parents don't even drink tea. Like,
whoa, maybe that's even more like, guys. Guys, check this out.
It was the weirdest thing. And I was just, so anytime I see those types of like
roadside attractions,
I'm just like, no.
The dinosaur. I want to see the dinosaur. There's a couple like dinosaurs that they've made. It's somewhere on like Route 66 or something. I'd go check those out.
Can you ride them like on the Flintstones?
I mean, until they stop you, I'm sure.
You can do anything until someone tells you to stop.
Exactly.
Huh, interesting life choices. So I'm totally with Ron on all of these things. No to any of the side quests, and yes to saving room for steak.
One last thing, sorry, just because it is a site. So for me though, traveling is the side quest for me, very honestly, is about the food. It's like, I like to, like, we're going to go to this place. It's like, great, now let's find the place where it's like, you could only get this thing here, or their variation of it. Right. Mm-hmm. So that's how I would honestly travel. It's not to go see dinosaurs or giant teapots. It's to go get, the hamburger that feeds 4 people. That's what I want in my trip.
I'm on board with that.
Okay.
That sounds great. Like, one time I went to Miami with my friends, and one of my friends was like, let's get a really good Cuban sandwich.
You know what? I didn't say it was a really good. I just said this is a place that has Cuban sandwiches. We've got about 4 hours. Let's get one while we're in Miami. Okay.
We were going to Cuba.
And how many Cuban sandwiches did you have there?
None.
I guess every sandwich you have in Cuba is a Cuban sandwich, but that's not the point.
Yeah, it was just one of those wonderful layover situations where I had to go buy underwear at a Target again, and and we had an opportunity to go get a Cubano in Miami from a real Cuban, and it was fine.
The sugar coffee was better.
Oh yeah, wow, that was very, very sugary. And across the street from the hotel we were staying at was a Publix, which I have later found out is famous for how awesome their sandwiches are. Like, we were right there.
Well, just got to go back to Miami.
Oh, never on purpose. I do everything I can to avoid Florida. So we are really not making good time on this episode.
All right. Hammer down.
Leslie tells them that Chris is going to meet them for dinner, and Ron is immediately upset, but they have to go pick Chris up. And so Leslie begins investigating Chris's place right away, starting with the interior design of the whole thing. It's like a spa, indicating like women must feel comfortable here. Looks in his coats, like, you have a lot of men's coats. He's like, I like coats. And so she keeps doing the investigating. One of the little sidelines here is like, I really love your entryway, your front door. And Chris is like, thank you. It's like, Ron doesn't even have a front door. Ask Ron where he lives. Chris says, where do you live? To which Ron replies, why? Like, he's standing right there the whole time. Yeah. Why? So Ron is super private. Cuts back to Snakehole Lounge, and Andy tries to get some free drinks because he knows Tom, and the bartender's like, shuts it down. The owner comes over, shuts it down, and he's like, I feel bad because I can't buy you stuff. That's a little farther down. So yeah, but that will create a game here for Andy and April where they're going to try to get as much free stuff as they can. And April, she is a girl, she can get drinks for free anywhere. And so they have different plans. One of the plans that April does is she just gets one of their employee shirts and just takes a bunch of drinks from the bar over to table 6, gets a bunch of tips. And so she's keeping all the tips. Andy goes to the bathroom to serve as a bathroom attendant that doesn't have anything, but still asks for tips. So
right.
like mint or gum, mint, all out. Okay, gum, all out of that too. Tip, please. So,
and my favorite part of that joke is that the guys in like a club like that would never have a valet, and so it's like just the fact that the guys are like, oh yeah, this makes sense. Obviously, have never been to, like I've never been to a place. I've been to places kind of like the Snake Hole Lounge, but never at a place that has a real valet. So, you know,
you've never been to a restaurant with a bathroom or an establishment with a bathroom attendant?
No, I don't like going to places where there are people hanging out in the bathroom who aren't going to the bathroom. That's
weird.
That's weird.
Yeah, I went the first time I went to it was a restaurant that had a bathroom attendant. I was just like, "Are you waiting?"
I've been here a while.
Is this a line? Because I see that everything is open. Like, what is happening right now? It was not my world. And so then I honestly think the reason there's a bathroom attendant is to make sure people wash their hands. That is the reason. Because like if no one's in there, it's the honor system, and you're like, I don't know, maybe I did, maybe I didn't, But the guy standing there just like staring at you the whole time you're going to the bathroom, first of all, stage fright. Second of all, you can't just walk out like, see you later, man. And just like not wash your hands. His whole job is just to clear his throat subtly.
And then you have to give them $1 to prove that you washed your hands.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's damp.
I dried my hands on those.
Damp dollar.
Oh.
So yeah, and I mean the things those guys are exposed to.
Yes.
In there, like, do they burn their clothes after every shift? Like, do they have to go into like the cleansing station, like ET's outside of Elliot's house on ET, where they like hose you down with chemicals and all that, and then he goes home? I don't know. It's a weird world. I can never get there. Yeah. So, now where are we at?
Anne is on her way. Oh, because Leslie
found a razor.
Yeah, yep.
And a pink shower cap in Chris's shower. And so she calls Anne. Yes. And she's like, I'm on my way. And I'm like, okay. And then they go to Mulligans. And this is like the saddest moment in all of Parks and Recreation. Because it's just closed. They boarded it up for some kind of health code violation. And Ron is very upset. He tries to break down the door. And he's sitting on the curb, like looking like somebody just shot his dog right in front of him. And he asks, like, what do you think they did with all the steaks that were in there when it closed? You just throw them away? And Chris is always the optimist. He's like, hey, let me go cook you up some grub at my house, and it'll be great. And so they agree to do that. Cut back to the party, and Ben is there talking to Tom. And Tom is like, there's Dennis Feinstein. He's like a mogul. He's the best. And he's like, really? But like a name like Dennis Feinstein, he needs a better name if he's going to be in this perfume business. He's like, his real name is Dante Fierro. But Dennis Feinstein is much more exotic and funny.
Right.
So, so that
which again, the fact that Pawnee has a perfume mogul, like once again,
yes, there's no reason that this should be happening. And later, when we see where he moguls from,
yes,
like that building, does not exist in a town like Pawnee. Like, come on, there's no way he's making that much money from Pawnee. One of the notes here as well with the Mulligans that I wrote down: Ron brought his own bib
and steak knife, because he had a little box with him.
Yes, he came prepared. So Andy, being embarrassed, he's going to try to get the free stuff. Then Leslie starts interrogating Chris about all his female relatives, trying to figure out like, why is there a women's razor and shower cap in your bathroom? So he asks, like, do you have any sisters? Fun, youthful grandma, like all these different things. And Ron just looks over at her, is like, when Chris walks away, he's like, "Have you forgotten how to have a conversation?"
I wrote this terrible joke where it's not even a joke, but basically she's quote grilling Chris. And then Chris is like, well, hey, I'm going to go fire up the grill. And now he's going to do some grilling. And it's not the kind that even Ron wants. So no one's getting the grilling that they want.
Yeah.
There you go.
Why don't we just say right now what's going to happen so that our listener is not shocked? Chris grills portobello mushrooms.
Oh.
To which Ron, like, he just faints. Like, he just falls down. Like, what is this? And like Leslie's like, get a cold compress or something. And it's like he's in trauma mode here. It's not good. This is also about the same time that Anne comes in and is like, what's going on? Why do you have a women's razor in the shower? And they have this conflict going on. Ron is hungry and he's getting hangry and he's passing out. It's all bad. And so there's a lot going on in Indianapolis. Then Chris, before that though, Chris told Leslie, hey, we broke up, and but it was too late for Leslie to tell Anne to come. And so now their conflict here is that, you know, when Anne shows up, Chris has to explain to her that he's not cheating on her because they're no longer dating. And Leslie explains it that sweet, beautiful Anne has never been dumped before. And Chris's positivity made it confusing. So she didn't understand. And so then when she says like, that's why it was, you were freaked out when I kissed you. It was like, well, that was pleasant. It was strange. So, yeah. All right. So then Leslie and Anne will leave, and we'll come back to them leaving later because Anne is super embarrassed. Ron is going to stay for the commendation. It'll be fine on that whole thing. Cut back to the party at the Snake Hole Lounge. And Tom goes to pitch his scent to Feinstein. And
because he goes, watch this. I'm the Yoda of networking.
Yeah.
And Ben's like, well, actually his power is more spiritual. He's like, shut up, nerd.
There are so many things about the way Ben deals with pop culture references. Like I fall in that trap. Like, I can't let you be wrong about this. Like,
well, it's not that, and it's not that he wants you like to be superior. He just wants you to know like the right way. Like, cause you care. Like, I care about, you know, I think there's a difference than the people that are just like mean about stuff and just be like, well, I know more than, like, you're an idiot versus like, well, actually, you know.
Yeah. I've put in the work. So
can't just let it go to waste.
Well, that's part of it, but also it's like I care about you enough to tell you like you're wrong about this. Because I'm not gonna be like judge you, but I don't want you to be embarrassed if you have this conversation with somebody else.
Exactly.
Like I'm trying to protect you. And I don't understand why people don't understand that. Man, you know what? That's just how I'm wired.
You know, I appreciate it. I've learned a lot.
Thank you. Did you watch WandaVision yet?
No, not yet.
Oh man. All right. Different show. So Tom goes to pitch to Feinstein, and he's like, you know, maybe we start going to business together, you know, start handbags and like luxury items, all this different kind of stuff. And then he's like, let me spray you with Tommy Fresh, to which Dennis laughs. And he says, is this a gag scent? It smells like somebody spilled Chinese food in a bird cage. No, which is real gross.
It's super gross. The thing that kind of like makes Dennis, like, we know he's already a total sleazebag and all that, but Tom is the guy who's throwing him this party. And that really frustrated me too, because it's like, you don't even have the common decency to be nice to him, like let him down easy. But he was like super jerk guy. So, and then
I don't think Feinstein knew who Tom was.
Yeah, agreed.
Like somebody's throwing him this party, and he doesn't care who. He's just about launching his scent. Yeah, and so like Tom probably never met Feinstein before,
right?
And like there would be no reason for him to know that Tom's throwing the party. But as the observer of the audience, like he is meeting his hero, which is sad. And then like his hero bird cages his dreams.
Wow.
So it's like, it is sad.
I know why the
You know?
aged perfume flies.
Yeah, that's exactly the book title. Yeah, it's perfect. So
Like
so
how
Tom's devastated.
yeah,
He's
and then Dennis ends it with "Leave the perfumery to the real men."
yeah, and we should note that Dennis Feinstein is played by Jason Mantzoukas, who is awesome.
Treasure.
He is one of the best like character actors
Mm-hmm.
on TV. Like anything he's in, I immediately love.
The first time I saw him was on a show called The League, which is very, adult themed and stuff. A lot of jokes, but he plays an absolute psychopath. Like, and it's fun. There's like all this in argument, between all the friends, and then Mantzoukas comes in and he is just unhinged, crazy. Yeah, and that's the first time I was like, who is this person? And then I think showed up here, and then later in Brooklyn Nine-Nine is like the times. And then I think wasn't he in
The Good Place?
The Good Place, where he also plays a character named Dennis, and then Derek. Oh, that's
I'm
right.
Derek.
I'm Derek.
Yeah.
But then wasn't he in Human Giant, or was that just? I don't think he was in Human Giant. Never mind. Anyway.
Well, I'm just scrolling down here. Human Giant was a long time ago. It was before The League. Wow, he's got a lot of credits.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff. Like you said, as a character actor, he's absolutely hilarious. He just has an energy that's just, and he's so confident in his comedy.
Yeah, he doesn't leave anything back. He just goes for it. So, and all of his characters in the Sure universe are weirdos.
Yeah.
Like just total weirdos. So Feinstein is like arrogant and like creepy. Derek is broken in so many ways on The Good Place. He's got wind chimes down there. And then we have Adrian Pimento, who on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, who is the undercover cop who was way too undercover for way too long, and so he's got some serious problems. So yeah, I love that show. So yeah, one of the things too, like when he's trying to pitch the thing, like Dennis is like, "Are you from the FDA?" Legally, you have to tell me from the FDA.
Yes.
So he knows he's like super sketchy, because that's a question. Like, are you a cop? You have to tell me if you're a cop. Like, I never had to ask anybody that question in my life.
Right. So, I like how Tom introduces himself. He's like, "I'm a huge fan. I love your perfume. I love your scents. Like sometimes I even use two at once." He's like, "We don't actually recommend that. like it's going to cause a chemical reaction."
Yeah, like this is not a good idea there, sir. Yeah, so one of the other things another character that we meet in this episode is Janet Snakehole. When April pretends to be a server, she says, "Yeah, I'm the owner's daughter, Janet." So this is Janet Snakehole. She'll come up later again,
right,
in the series. With her and Burt Macklin have a real on again, off again situation. Where are we at here? So so Ben brings Tom a drink after being rejected by Dennis Weinstein, and Tom says he smells like success, and nobody can smell my dreams. And Ben's reply is like, "I can smell your dreams. I can smell them from here." And what I smell like? Teriyaki hairpiece. So. Yeah, so many great little jokes about how the description of this cologne that Tom has made. But I love that they're both like heavily Asian sauced themed.
right.
Chinese birdcage, teriyaki hairpiece. Yeah. And after this interaction, there's a talking head where Ben's like, "They smell terrible. The dreams smell terrible." Yeah. So then April and Andy, like they're going over their haul of all the stuff that they were able to get, and they feel terrible. So then they end up giving the tips back to the bar. And then Leslie is driving home with Anne, and she is giving all of the breakups of her past, trying to console Anne. And so did you have a chance to write those down?
Oh yeah. Basically the line goes, one time when she was in high school, a guy's mom called me and broke up with him. There was another time when I was on a date and trip and broke my kneecap, and the guy said he wasn't feeling it, so he left, and I waited for an ambulance. And at that one, Anne just looks at her like, that's when Anne finally kind of looks up and looks at her with a whole bunch of like pity. I just love this whole scene because Anne's whole countenance changes from being super depressed to actually feeling sorry for Leslie. Like, maybe I don't have
Right.
it so bad, which was the point of the scene. One time I was dating a guy for a while and he got down on one knee and begged me to never call him again. One guy broke up with me while we were in the shower together. I love this one. Skywriting just starts with skywriting isn't always positive. Another time, a guy invited me to a beautiful picnic with wine and flowers. And when I tried to sit down, he said, "Don't eat anything. Rebecca's coming." And then he broke up with me. And Anne goes, "Who's Rebecca?" And Leslie goes, "Exactly."
Yeah. And I imagine that like Anne's reaction is because she did not know what Leslie was going to say.
Yes.
Amy Poehler is an improv background. And so like, I just wonder if they were like, all right, just say like terrible breakups.
Yeah.
And you respond however you're going to respond.
And there's a couple of cuts where if you watch Anne's face, she's already like, as Leslie's starting to talk, she's still laughing from probably a previous take. So, you know, I wonder how many more there were out there because they were really funny.
Oh, man. Yeah. One of the things I love about this show is the fun run idea where they do the take and then they do the fun run. So a couple episodes ago, the Leslie, you have internet connectivity problems. Like that was a fun run take, you know, and so there's so many times where it's like, was this the fun run that we were seeing? And I in my headcanon, I believe that is what's happening there. So that's a fun run. So then it cuts. Ron is going to stay there to get the commendation, and so he's eating at a Denny's type establishment. So he's gone way down from the Mulligans glory to Chris's house to now a Denny's establishment. Which, if it's not moon over Miami, why are you eating at Denny's? You know, and so he's asking for a steak, and it comes out as like so small and so tiny. He's like, "This isn't a steak. Why would you call it that on your menu?"
Guy's like, "I don't know, man."
It's like, I just work here. Like that's the whole vibe that the server is giving. Like, I have no say in what's happening in this establishment, and like I don't name the things. And so then Ron says, "I need you to bring me all the bacon and eggs you have." And the guy starts walking away. He's like, "Wait, I think what you heard was bring me a lot of bacon and eggs. I need you to bring all the bacon and eggs you have. Do you understand?" And so he says yes. And then he goes and so that's the end of Ron's story. And he does make it back from Indianapolis. I feel FYI, in case you're wondering. And then it cuts back to the bar, and Tom and Ben are becoming friends, which is great. And Donna brings Ben a drink, which is his drink. And like, how did you guys know? And they're like, wait, that's all what you drink. Everybody knows. Mm-hmm. And so the people in Pawnee are getting to know him. And so from earlier, when he said all of these people are like Facebook friends,
right?
Like, this is different. This is a different situation for Ben, where people are actually paying attention to him.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, and that's the whole thing, is like, maybe it's Ben who sees everything as Facebook friends, but these people see him as a real, you know, as a friend already. So it's, you know, as many, and it kind of reflects like as many problems as Pawnee has, like the people there really are like, you're one of us, like you're with us in this. And so, you know, they're kind of all together, which is cool.
They're fourth in obesity, first in friendship.
That's right. Exactly.
So it's right on their state, on their city sign. So
he should know.
Yeah. And so then Anne and Leslie are at the bar. They got back from Indianapolis real fast.
Right.
Like that was one of the things where I was like, how long is this party? A.
Well, it starts at 6.
And B, how fast were they driving?
Doors open at 6. The party starts at 9. So,
oh my gosh, I hate this. I hate this culture so much. Like everything about like the club scene, like when people talk about it when it's on TV, I was like, I would never go to that ever. Like, oh, awful. Later, Tom and John Ralphio are going to throw a party for the end of the world, and like I would die before I go to that party. So, yeah, so Ben sees Anne and Leslie at the bar, and they start talking, and Leslie tells then like Anne's really upset because she just found out that Chris broke up with her.
He's like, oh, you mean
yeah, like a week ago.
Is that why you tried to kiss him? We were so confused.
And then who's we?
Who's oh no. Like it just keeps getting worse for Anne.
Yeah. And then so the party's ending and people start leaving. And I love that one of the things that Andy was able to liberate from Snakehole Lounge was a roll of toilet paper, and they gave everything back, but Andy kept the toilet paper. He's like, I need it.
Right. So, I feel bad, but I need it.
Yeah. And then as they're leaving, Ben sees Feinstein's car is still there, and there's a window like open, probably because it stinks in there anyway. And so because of all the perfumery happening, and so Ben is like, give me Tommy Fresh, and he's like, he sprays it in the car, like fills it up, and so like Ben is like, yes, vengeance. Or Tom is like, this is great, vengeance on Dennis and stuff, and then Ben's reaction is like, oh man, it's so bad, and he starts like gagging as he's walking away. So yeah, and that's the end of the episode.
Yeah, and it was awesome because Ben is like kind of showing like, hey, okay, I accept your friendship in a way because now I've got you. Like I know you're down, because he does say when he says when your dreams smell terrible, he goes, oh my gosh, it was awful, but I like Tom. And so then now that he's come around a bit, he kind of helps out, and he's like, yeah, we are friends. Your enemy is my enemy now. So, which is the basis of most friendships, I think.
Yeah, a shared hatred for the other.
Perfumery people. That's all.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, if Dennis Feinstein's colognes and perfumes didn't burn people's eyes, then maybe they wouldn't hate him so much.
Yeah, that was the only thing I think we skipped was some of his where were his other
names for his colognes?
Yeah.
They are attack, yearning, thickening, itch, coma, side boob, and his latest, allergic.
Allergic. I wrote down itch coma because I thought, like the way he said it, I thought that was one of them.
You thought that
itch,
was
coma,
itch coma.
Itch coma. Like, well, you itch yourself so much that you just fall asleep.
Wow.
I don't know.
Oh, here's a fun little trivia thing. This is under the spoilers section on IMDb. Charles Mulligans was not a real steakhouse in Indianapolis. Undoubtedly, owing to the storyline that sees Mulligan's closing due to health code violations, the writers and producers opted to have a fictional steakhouse serve as Ron's favorite. In later episodes, the show cited a real Indianapolis steakhouse, St. Elmo Steakhouse, as the best in Indianapolis. While its recognition as the best is debatable, it's certainly the most famous and iconic in Indianapolis. A steakhouse, it is actually most famous for its shrimp cocktail.
Which makes sense, being in Indiana for some reason. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, landlocked shrimp.
Yeah, no, hard pass.
Now we're from Seattle, so we're kind of spoiled a bit when it comes to the idea of fresh seafood, whether you like it or not.
Because we have the sea
and many lakes and rivers. So Indianapolis shrimp cocktail. I don't. Careful, guys. Careful out there.
One of my favorite 30 Rock jokes is when Jack is in hosting somebody, and he's like, "Would you like some fresh clams from the Cuyahoga River, which is in Ohio?" Oh, thank you. Yeah, so gross. So that's season 3, episode 6. Indianapolis. We're titling this Scrapbooking Steaks, but spelled like steaks, like you eat, not like steaks, like high stakes. So yeah, good episode all around. Dennis Feinstein, Janet Snakehole, so many good things happening in this episode. So yeah, any other thoughts?
No, I mean, that's pretty much it. It's a good setup. I think kind of going into, not a real setup, but just a nice little breather episode going into the Harvest Festival, which is kind of another, big plot arc point in this in season 3. So this kind of gives us a little bit, like it's connected because they're getting the commendation, but then now we're going to get into the Harvest Festival, which is such a great episode. So yeah, I'm excited. This is good.
Harvest Festival introduces Ken Watanabe.
Yeah, oh man.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Little Sebastian. I mean, there's every episode. Season 3 just so great, so great.
Yes, we have Yeah. So you got Lil Sebastian, played by Lil Sebastian. We've got some more Joan Calamezzo, some Perd Hapley. Oh, so many good things happening.
It's the Harvest Festival. You got to bring everybody out, you know?
Yeah. The Perd Hapley picture on the page here is Judge Perd Hapley. I can't find my judge hammer. I love the show so much.
It's so great.
Oh man. Oh yeah. Okay. We should stop. Now I'm looking forward to next.
I know. I just want to start talking about it, right?
It's so
no one can understand me anyway. Doobie do.
Yes, listener, tell us what you thought about Indianapolis. You know what would be great is if you could tell us where you think the best steaks are.
Oh wow.
Because I'm prone to Daniels, but you know that's because I live here. But if I'm ever in like an exotic locale like Puyallup, I'd love to know the best steakhouse down there. So, you send us an email, parksandconversation@gmail.com. And we look forward to hearing from you. And we'd love to get your thoughts on the pending Harvest Festival as well. Last year we didn't have any state fairs. And this will help us get over the hump for next fair season. So
fair season is coming.
Important. Fair season is always coming.
You got to get your fried everything somewhere.
Oh man, that sounds good. I love a good fried everything. So with that, we should wrap this up. So I will talk to you next time, Jeremy.
Sounds good. I'll talk to you later.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.